Let's dive right into it. Hi, Gwen.
Hi.
It's so nice to meet you in person. Thank you so much for
This is so cool.
coming by. And do you like our studios?
I do. It's so awesome. It's a little, for ADHD people, it's a little distracting with
You're
the
so
cars
right.
going by, but I love it.
I was never more productive when I was in most radio studios where it's just like four walls and no
Yeah.
windows. And now you're right, just
I'm
watching
like, whoop.
people
I'm like,
and
whoop, whoop,
people
whoop.
come up and knock. If we raised these up and people saw you, you wouldn't believe it. It'd be like a whole thing. So we won't do that. But hey, happy belated birthday
Thank you.
and anniversary, right?
Which anniversary?
Well,
I don't know. There's
it's
so many
like-
different things it could be.
In
Well,
general.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big birthday, and it's interesting because we were talking about time right before we turned on the actual recording button,
Mhm.
but like it's really crazy because like a year ago I had a show in Hawaii on my birthday, and it was like, oh yeah, I'll go get a little pile of money and come home, and I don't care about my birthday, like, and I went on my own and I like spiraled into this like place. I was like,
wow.
everybody needs to have a birthday, I think, like
Aw.
a celebration. And I ended up writing this song called Swallow My Tears, which is on the new record.
Yeah.
So I got something good out of it. But this birthday, I was like, okay, no, we gotta do something. And so Blake took us, me, my brother, his sister, my sister-in-law, his wife, my other sister-in-law and brothers. It was like six of us, and we went to Colorado to like a cabin, and just like it was so beautiful up there. All the trees were like changing color. It was like a waterfall, hiking, drinking, like everything you could do. And it was so emotional. Like anytime I'd look over and they'd be like, "Oh, like a cake would be like." Like, oh my God, it's my birthday. I was like, sometimes you just really need to transition into the next year. And that was one of those years for me. So it's been like, it was a good one. I feel ready now. I'm like, I'm on the other side of it.
Oh, that's great to hear.
I got
That's-
loved over to the other side.
Yeah. I always notice that stuff too, where I think like you just start to act different as you age. You like have better understandings and more awareness. And
Or
I'm like, did that
less.
It's like, did the frontal lobe develop yet? Am I like starting to understand? But that's so fun. And it's so interesting. I wrote down Swallow My Tears because I got to listen to the album a little bit earlier today. And that's my favorite song so far.
Are
so
you
I can't
serious?
Wait.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
I love
yay.
it. So congrats on that.
See, good things come out of bad things.
There we go. That's the message of the day. Absolutely. For Bouquet, it's coming out November 15th. How are you feeling as a whole?
I feel so grateful. Like it was one of those, like, again, like you can't, all I can do is look back at all of the whole career and be like, wow, how did that happen? Like none of it makes any sense at all, let alone to have a new record now. Like I was feeling like I needed to, like we were talking about 2020, and I'm like, I really want to start writing again, but I also feel like I have like so many things going on. I'm a mom, you know, like I have all these. I felt guilty to even go to the studio and try to write music because a lot of times you go and nothing happens too. And but I started working on it, and I think I went down like a lot of like weird cul-de-sacs, like just musically, because I didn't really know what I wanted to be or who I was. Like I was trying to kind of chase the old me, like, okay, I want to do reggae or I'm gonna do this, and nothing was like landing in like that. Wow, this is the thing. Not even for me, but like even when I'd play it for people, they'd be like, cool, okay, anyways, like I'm like, oh, I guess it's gone. Like I guess I don't do this anymore.
Interesting.
And then finally, like I think it really just comes down to like you have to like you as the person doing it. I want it to always be real and truthful and honest, and I just had to find that real honest place, and also the people that I actually end up writing the songs with, like finding the right chemistry, the right everything to make it all come together. And once I wrote Purple Irises, which I know I was in here when that came out, everything just is going by so quickly.
Yeah.
But that was like finally like, okay, I landed in the spot. And then the record kind of happened pretty quick after that. But I was just telling the story about my birthday, and that was a year ago when I wrote that. So time just flies.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. But
I mean, gosh.
to have like this record that feels like so therapeutic to like share it, and like the fact that you heard it, like it's like, oh my gosh, that's even more healing. Like it's like you have to confess your life, like to heal. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So it's been really awesome
That's amazing.
so far.
And it's so interesting how I love the phrase cul-de-sacs of music. I've never heard that before. How would you describe this sound then, since it's like different than what you've done before?
Well, I think it was like I knew I wanted to make something that I wanted to listen to, and like I feel like I keep going like the older I get, the more I go back to like the songs that I grew up with, like as a kid. You know what I mean? Like which I think we kind of call it yacht rock now, but at that time it was just like the popular,
Right.
you know, like soft rock music, like anything from like Steely Dan, the Eagles, like Carly Simon, James Taylor. Like there was like a lot of singer-songwriters back then. There was no computers. It was just music, like organic, you know? And so I really wanted to do something like in that kind of world. And after kind of writing the songs, finally getting the songs, I was like, I need to go take this record and like re-record the whole thing with like a live band in that style, which was very, very spoiled.
Yeah, is that hard to do? Like,
it was hard to get to do it because like I kind of had demo-itis from some of the because when I'm writing, like, you know, I'm working with amazing producers that are having a certain sound, which to me sounded so much like what I'd done already, and I just was like, I can't do that again. It just feels uncomfortable. It's like if I went back and wore my like high school clothes, which I kind of do that still,
Right.
but like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like
in the right moment.
I have to like evolve, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like we ended up going back, and I got to work with this producer called Scott Hendricks, who's actually a country producer, which I knew through Blake, but he's like this eccentric, amazing, gifted, like, I mean, I'm like a huge fan of him. Like he's just so incredible at what he does. He's a legend. And the idea of us together just makes zero sense at all, because it's like he's Nashville, I'm Orange County, like it doesn't make sense. But
Right.
I just knew something in me was just telling me like I need to try this. So I wrote him and I sent him a couple songs, and he was like, he actually wrote me back. I was like, oh my God, Scott's writing me. Like, and he's like, I can't stop listening to these songs. So I think it was also, he was just retiring from his job he'd been at forever. And so I wasn't able to work with him until that happened. And so it just all lined up exactly. Like 4 days after he retired, we were in the studio and we cut all the songs with live music. It was just amazing. It was spiritual. So that's what the record is. It's kind of like a bouquet of all these songs that are like a collection, and really edited down to like me kind of right now and like what I've been going through to get like healing to this point in my life, I
Totally.
guess.
Yeah, getting to work with Blake on a song is so fun with Purple Irises.
Yes.
When it comes to being on your own project, was the creative process different from like setting the time up to record it with him, like compared to Nobody But You? How did it go with him on your project?
It was like really spontaneous, because I had that song for a while and he kept kind of like, hey, don't put that out yet. And then, I don't know, I kind of like got this feeling like he wanted, because it wasn't a duet. It was just a song I wrote about him.
Yeah.
And
he was planting the seeds.
I felt like,
calling dibs on it a little bit.
I was like, hey, do you want to be on this? Like, I wouldn't dare ask him because everybody wants him on their song. But he was kind of like open to it. I was like, I can rewrite it. Like, I can write da-da-da, whatever. And then I was down in the studio and I was talking to Jay Cash, who ended up helping me get this whole project together. And I was saying how cool would it be if we did the duet. And he's like, yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm going to text him like right now. And like in a half hour he was over and we just like tried it on. And even then I wasn't sure if it was working. But and then when we ended up recutting it with Scott, like it kind of all came together, because it's like his world and my world coming together.
Yeah,
and
I was able to combine them pretty well.
It was just so fun, like as a life thing, to do that with him, because outside of just him being my best friend, my husband, all of it, he's just such an amazing, gifted singer and person, like just to be able to, an artist. So it's just
like, why not? Show it off.
I love it.
You know?
I feel so proud of it.
That's awesome. When we're talking about your like influences and obviously growing up in Orange County and in LA, I'm so curious to like how you think, it's a broad question, but like if you grew up anywhere else, how different do you think you would have sounded, or what that path in music would have looked like?
I think it would have been way different. I think we all, like, wherever, we were talking about you being from Michigan, like, I feel like we all, like, are like a reflection of our, basically like our culture that we grow up in, and Anaheim was such a like unique place that until I actually left and went and traveled the world, like I was like, I didn't realize, oh my God, this is a place that everyone comes to work at Disneyland. Like, it's just a very like weird kind of culture there, right?
Yeah.
It's like right next to Mexico. Like it's and so I feel like all of that really had a lot to do with it. And I think just because of the way that my family was really like, I was quite sheltered, I think, I don't know. And we just there was music always around. My parents were really into like folk music and bluegrass, and like they would take us to the bluegrass festivals, and like when we were kids, you know what I'm saying? So all of those things, I feel like they're in you, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we were just like innocent and like found this music that was called ska, which was from like England that nobody knew about. We're gonna do a ska band, and here we are, fast forwarded, and I'm talking to this boy from Michigan.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'm
what's
telling you what.
happening?
It's crazy how it all works out. Well, it's great you're back with new music. Obviously, we saw you on Kimmel the other day and Coachella last year. But when it comes to performing, is it in your mind? Like, what are your plans for getting out on the road? Anything come to mind?
You know what? I've been doing a lot of festivals,
Yeah.
which is really fun. I get hired for do some like kind of private shows too. I'm pretty busy. Like it's kind of like too busy, but
Yeah.
and I'm always like, I never want to do a show. Like I'm always like, it's because it feels like if someone said, okay, we're going to do a marathon now, let's go. Like physically like, you know?
Yeah.
And then once I get up there, I'm like, oh, I know how to do this. And it's like, I'm in it in the moment. And then when it's over, I'm like, whew.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to do that for a minute. But no, Coachella was incredible. The festivals I've been playing have been absolutely amazing. And I think it's just really, I love doing the festivals because you're there with other artists too.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like that energy, and you get to like play for people that probably maybe didn't come for you, which I love that too. I love trying to prove myself.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. If I can impress them, then
I'm like,
I know I'm
I'm gonna
good.
get you. You're gonna like me by the end of this.
Yep, absolutely. And to get to obviously collab with No Doubt again, and Olivia Rodrigo at Coachella is so cool. I love that relationship. And when you look at her, do you see a little bit of yourself and like how different it is, like coming up in the music industry compared to when you did?
It is so different. I mean, even like I can remember the industry, meaning like even when I say that word, it's just weird because I was so naive. I didn't know it was an industry. Like I was just like, like I'm gonna find my thrift store clothes and like here's my song I wrote about my life that
Yeah.
no one's gonna hear, you know. And I think that with Olivia, like I got to meet her on the carpet, like on the Met Ball. Like we were in the like line to go on the red carpet or whatever. And I was by myself and she was by herself. And we were like started talking, and she's just was so cool and just normal and easy to talk to. And I really respect her because when I heard that Driver's License is the name of the song, I was like, God, who wrote this? Like, this is actually like an amazing, amazing song. Like, I got to check this girl out. And I remember I was like listening to the whole album on my phone, like we were gardening in the backyard in Oklahoma, me and Blake, and he's like, "Who's that?" You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I was this little girl, da da da. And then I got to meet her, and she was just so cool. And then the fact that she came up for Coachella, it just was, I don't know, it was just one of those weird like moments. No, I don't. What I see in her is just like a really talented songwriter that just is able to be able to like say what she feels in music. And I just think it's just very cool and inspiring even for me to hear. You know, it doesn't matter, like again, like collaboration for me has always been where I feel like I shine the most, like especially as a songwriter. And credit where credit's due, because when I went in the studio, I wrote these songs with like a group of amazing songwriters, and it's finding that zone where you feel like you have that chemistry with people. And two of the girls that I wrote with on this record are like young girls that like, oh my God, my mom used to listen to No Doubt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so like for me, it was just so inspiring for me, you know, to see these girls and try to think back to like what I was like at that age. And like they were, you know, I worked with this girl called Nico, and she's an artist, and I wrote Purple Irises with her. I wrote this song called Marigolds with her. And she just was so cool about letting me have space in the room to be me, but also she brought like lines and she brought like melodies, and she was so confident, but yet, I don't know. It's just interesting, you know. And then this other girl, Madison Love, I love you guys. She's again, like at first when I started working with her, I was like, who is this girl? Like you walk in, just like I'm walking in here and going, okay, let's write a song. Like it's really intimidating. It's really like
Pressure.
Yeah. And it's like, I got to get back to the kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's like a lot. It was
Priorities,
a lot.
you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like it was a fight for me to, like nobody cared. Like nobody was saying, okay, you got to go do this now. It's like your next thing you're doing. It's like, no, it's like me going, I kind of want to do this because like, is it weird that I want to do this, you know? So that fight, I think, is what made me so like makes me so proud of it and so excited to share it because it feels so like real and like and yeah, with Madison it was the same thing. It was like, who are you? Like she needed to like prove herself to me, and then next thing I know, I'm like, oh my God, you are so talented and you get me and you get it. And it's like, it's this girl thing. And like, I don't know. I had a lot of fun working with them. I worked with this guy called Nick Long, who is like, he did like a lot of stuff with Machine Gun Kelly. Like, so it was like a really like eclectic group of people from like that. Basically, at the end of the day, it was like a therapy session for me.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about music, right? Is how
yeah.
like all you people who might not have anything in common outside, and then you come together, you can find those things that collaboratively make music. And
Yeah.
it's so fun. So I'm so glad, and I'm so proud, obviously, of just, that's weird to be like, I'm proud of you.
That's it.
Sorry, I feel like that moment. But it's just so cool to see your journey, and obviously like being from OC and having even a star on the Walk of Fame. So you got that last year.
That was weird, too.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Have you visited it ever?
Not
Like,
yet.
Not yet?
No, not yet. But what was really weird about it was Blake got one like right before me.
He's
It's
definitely
like,
never been back since. Am I right?
He's definitely not. But I feel like his was like only not even like in the same year or something.
Yeah.
So I think when we did it, when he did his, he was just like trying to, retire from The Voice. It was like 23 seasons or something. He has like a lot
So
of
many.
work, and he was kind of, I feel like, burnt out. It was like another thing on the calendar was like, okay, I'm going to get my star today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we made a huge deal out of it, had this whole party and everything.
Yeah.
But his was like a roast. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Carson literally went up there and was like, everybody was like, you suck, Blake.
Oh my
Here's your
gosh.
star. And then when I did mine, it was like the opposite. It was like Blake, he was so like his speech, which I didn't even like. I'm there with him, but when did you write this? He's like, oh, this morning.
Oh, no way.
I was like bawling. I mean, I really had. If I could, if there was no one looking, I would have been bawling because it was just so unexpected what he said, and I just felt like so loved. And it makes you think about everything, like what a miracle it is from Anaheim days to that. That was like so. I remember driving up in the Nissan Sentra with like the band crammed in to like go get some studio time to like haul everything upstairs to go do some music. We had no idea what we were doing, and it was
Yeah.
right there. Like those stars were like at the bottom of where that studio was.
Would have guessed.
So, amazing.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Oh.
crazy.
So Blake's chilling. Obviously, you're back on The Voice for another season. What is like your advice when it comes into a program like that where it's so hectic and it's so pressurized? It feels like. What do you try to instill when it comes to your team?
You know what? I love that show so much. I think this season I wasn't really planning to come back, and then they were like, but it's Snoop and it's like Michael Bublé and it's Reba again. I was like, oh.
Does the season go through Christmas? Will it be going on?
Yeah,
Man.
right now it's just airing everything that we like. I know everything that's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
I'm
I
like,
was there,
tell
and then we go back live in December.
Oh.
But it's really short. It's only like 2 weeks. The lives this time, and it was just like this season has just been so full of love. Like Michael Bublé is just like the sweetest. We have to get separated. Like we're talking. They're like, okay, get to set. Like stop. We can't stop talking. Like, and I knew he was going to be great because Blake is friends with him, and he'd always all these years. I mean, I have known Blake now 9 years, and all that time I love Michael. Da da da. So I wasn't worried about that. But Snoop, I was worried about myself because I'm such a fan that I was
Yeah.
like, what are you going to be like? Like this is going to be like, oh my Snoop Dogg. Oh,
Yeah,
like
I'm
how can I
two
be
chairs
myself?
over.
Like how am I going to be normal? Like, and I'd met him before and stuff, but like to really like be on set like that it's a whole thing. But he is so awesome.
Gosh.
I mean, he is so Snoop. You would not believe it. Like he's literally he calls it the green room before he comes out.
We know what that is. Absolutely. I saw him in Paris for the Olympics. I was doing some work out there, and he was the same vibe. Yeah, he's so fun.
He
and
can't get away from himself.
he's got the best jobs ever.
Yes.
He's just doing
He
side
makes
quest after
everyone
side
happy.
quest.
He's
Yeah.
just like a happy guy.
Such an icon. Well, I can't wait for those Christmas shows because that means you guys have to do some kind of Christmas song, like with Bublé and
Oh my
Snoop,
God, that's right. Yeah.
So once
That's
you guys
gonna
do
be
the
fun.
collab, it's gonna be crazy. What other holiday? You got Halloween at the end of this month. Are you a big Halloween person?
I am a Halloween person. It's interesting because everybody was asking me like, "Oh, is this a country record?" Because I wore a cowboy hat on the cover, but it's a long story. But anyways,
Yeah, same.
one of the when me and Blake first got together it was Halloween. So like we went out and I dressed up like a country girl. Like I was like
that's
my
what sealed the
fake,
deal.
like like, I don't know, Knott's Berry Farm version of a country girl with like a
Yeah.
square dancing outfit.
Right.
And so in the song Marigolds, there's a line that says dressed up like a country girl and knew you to prove. And it's like basically a nod to that because I definitely did go country when it comes to Blake, but not musically. But it's
Yeah.
funny. I just grabbed this hat because it was like, I don't know. I was doing the shoot and I was like, oh, Lizzie, my assistant. I was like, when you go back to the house, grab that hat it was his manager's wife gave me this cowboy hat like years ago. And I never wore it. It's this beautiful hat. I was like, I might want to throw it on. And it ended up being like the cover of the record. So
Well, there you go.
it's a long story.
Crazy Hours Now. So Cowboy
I
again
gave you
this
guys
year.
a really short version.
No, I appreciate it. Well, have a great Halloween. Obviously, it's still your birthday month, so you got to keep enjoying that.
Yeah.
Keep enjoying every day. I'm glad you have that awareness now that you should be celebrated every year.
Aw, you're sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me and thanks for playing the music.
Of course. Is there anything I missed? Anything else you want to let your fans know before we
I just
wrap?
want to, well, gosh, I have an opportunity to talk to them. I just want to say thank you. Oh my gosh, it's such an inspiration. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like anything else that you can't really see, like love, hope, faith. Like there's these things that we know what they are, and that's like them. Like I know they're there and rooting for me, and I feel that energy and that love, and it's such an inspiration for me to want to do new music, and share it with them. I can't wait. And it's so different now because you can just look and see what they have to say about it.
Oh,
it's like back in the day, we'd be like, okay, let's go drive to the post office and open up our little box and get our little fan mail out. But this is like, it's just
Instant.
fun to have instant like conversations. And I just want this record. Like I want people to feel how it made me feel because it's like such a healing, like, I don't know. It's just, it's such an amazing, when you find that record that you're like, I want to listen to this over, and it just makes you feel good.
Yeah,
it's one of those ones.
of course.
Well, it
Straight
was
from the
for
heart.
me so far, but I've
Love
already
it.
had it for a long time.
Yeah. Excited you guys have it. Shout out to you. And thank you, Gwen, so much again
Thank
for
you.
stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.